I'm Boris Ellis, and I built this showroom here at Lune River in the far south about 40 years ago. And I've created this, it started out as a hobby, and I've created this because I just love fossicking for minerals, gemstones and fossils. So moving here, of course, I knew that what was around this area, of course, it was a playground for me. Loving the bush, I used to go kayaking, bushwalking, rock climbing, and caving, of course, in this area. There's hundreds of caves. You know, I nearly died once on the southern ranges. Well, I think I was not quite 16. A lot of wind on an exposed mountain range in southern Tasmania. You can get pretty cold. And 2 of us out of 4 ended up with hypothermia. You know, 2 days away from the road. 2 of our group realised what was going on and quickly got into shelter, put up the tent and warmed myself and Lyle up. We survived. In 1983, when I purchased this property, I put a table of rocks out the front gate, and I built a little lean-to on the driveway. After my table at the roadside, a little lean-to on the turn circle here, and then I built this shop. This business has built up, as I say, from a hobby through to just absolute passion. It's getting worse and worse as life goes on. Why I've got this shop right here is because we're on site of an international recognised fossil forest. Dug in one particular spot and discovered some Jurassic sediments for the first time in Tasmania. The Jurassic sediments held a fossil tree about 12 metres long. It was worked out from the research done that this was a fossil log jam. Just like you get log jams in rivers today, this was a Jurassic log jam in a river and had petrified all the plants. The reason why they were petrified is because there was volcanic activity back 182 million years ago, and that volcanic activity, mud, ash and sand, covered the vegetation to about 100 metres thick and absolutely preserved everything intact. A fabulous discovery, and in fact, you can read all about it in the Australian Age of Dinosaurs journal, which I actually, they wrote to me and asked me to make an article, and there we are, sitting on the actual deposit. We're in the right age of sediments here to get dinosaurs. Still haven't found them. I'd say once we find one, we're going to find a lot. We suspect that the dinosaurs could be they could be 50 metres underground. Probably the best find I've made has been finding nephrite jade on the west coast. There's all this brown rock around, weathered brown rock. I sort of kicked it around, tapped a piece of that and inside was green. Oh, okay. Had it tested, it was nephrite. It was jade. We trademarked the name buttongrass jade for this. Really, it doesn't get better than that, than discovering something for the first time, which is really, in this day and age, it's unbelievable. Ever since a young kid, I love showing things to people. This is a cut section of a dinosaur thigh bone, a theropod. This is a Jurassic conifer from the local gem field. You can see the growth rings, fossil woods and ferns. This is from central Tasmania called penstock, fossil woods, agates. This is called penguin jasper from Penguin in Tasmania, in the north coast of Tasmania. A boulder of penguin jasper. This is a piece of fossil wood. This is the local tree, conifer. You can see the prominent rings. And by Tasmanian jade. Doesn't look much until you cut it and polish it. This came up very quickly in the early 80s. This place, this old place that I'm living at, built in 1879, I thought, gee, this is the place for me. So it didn't look like it does now. I mean, it was rotten. It was, the veranda had fallen down, the iron was rusted, there were blackberries everywhere. Yeah, all original boards, frames still original, just as solid as if it was built yesterday. That's what really makes the place, the veranda right the way around. So it's the only place I've ever bought and I can't imagine going anywhere else. First one built in this area. There were houses down at Cockle Creek and Southport, which were on the coast, and that's how transport was, all coast, there were no roads. So before the road was built here, this house was built. It's not really through the Huon Valley. There's a small strip, probably 20 kilometres by 2 kilometres wide. It's called a graben, where there's a strip of land that's dropped. And in that graben, a forest grew and filled up with basalt lava flow. And that's what preserved this forest. It's a rare thing. It just happens to be here. It's now a part of Australia's geoheritage, and the fact that, yeah, there is a story to be told of Earth history, a first for Tasmania. It's really a lot of work to do, but it's fun.